Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Swoop bike riders for Star Wars Legion are only weeks away from making the United States debut. However, they have started showing up at various stores across the globe, and they have certainly had some questions arrive with them related to the base size. We're going to be talking about this today because Atomic Mass Games just addressed this yesterday. So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Hello there. What's going on, everyone? If you are new here to the channel, I just want to remind you we are still giving away a lightsaber. That is going to run until the end of August. And all you're going to have to do to enter to win that is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's simple as that. Also, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens from luxuryplaystyle.com. Check them out. Compatible with Legion. They've got some tokens that are compatible with X-Wing, other games as well, like L5R or Arkham, or a lot of these games. Amazing tokens. They're double-sided, they're full metal, they're gorgeous. And if you use code Crabbok VIP, you're going to save 15%. Orders that use that code are also going to get a free Crabbok token, lightsaber nunchuck token. It's got the C on the front. You can mark your commanders in Legion with it. It's got the 5 on the back. You can use that for a damage counter. Really nice token. You're going to get that for free by using that code for orders of $35 or more. So head over to luxuryplaystyle.com and check them out. All right, so Swoop Bike Riders. They are Mercs. They are coming soon. They're supposed to be out in August. And, of course, when they do come out, I will be doing that unboxing. So that will be definitely a fun one to check out. I always enjoyed the Swoop Bike Riders because I first got introduced to Swoops in Shadows of the Empire. Very cool stuff, especially after just painting Black Sun. I'm definitely going to have to get some Swoops. But we got an interesting little turn of events today. Because they were shown on the larger ATRT size bases, and they've been people have been unboxing them. In addition to other types of misprints that we've seen, this was I guess a component change in that they're on smaller bases, the normal speeder size bases. So the following statement was issued by Atomic Mass Games on social media yesterday. It says, "It has come to our attention that there's a discrepancy with the Star Wars Legion Swoop Bike Riders SWL-97. Unfortunately, we've learned there was a miscommunication between our miniatures painting department and development department concerning the base size of the miniatures. This resulted in Swoop Bike Riders for both the official box photography and stream being put on the incorrect base size. The bases that are included in the product are the correct bases for the unit. We apologize for the confusion this has caused and have taken steps internally to ensure this type of issue does not occur again." And so what does this mean? Well, the bases that are included in the product are correct bases for the unit. That's going to be the smaller bases. So if you are familiar with the original core set, the speeder bike bases are smaller than the bases that we've seen, because these were certainly larger. So just for comparison, the ATRT size base is basically the same base size that the Dewback is on, and then the speeder bike base is right here. You can kind of see that the Dewback base is almost twice as big, maybe exactly. I don't know. I'm not a geometry dude with circles, so I don't know if that's twice as big or maybe more than twice as big, but it's significantly larger. And part of the aspect of the way that you were supposed to play Swoop Bike Riders really is to try to overrun, right? And so they want to move through other units and attack them. You'll still be able to do that. However, I think the change in base size might be kind of significant, because with a smaller base you actually don't move as far, and also you're having a harder time trying to displace people, since you can only displace on a compulsory move. But if they move through you, they can still do the overrun, so you can fly over people and still do that, but the base has to go over them. So if it's very narrow, you might not be able to. In the case of like the width of the base here, since I magnetized mine, I can just flip them right over and put them on there. You can see that you're getting that extra width on the side of each of these that you won't have if you had if you had run them on the ATRT size base like everybody thought we were going to be doing. Then you would have had a lot more room to be able to trigger those overrun attacks. So now that you're noticeably smaller, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get overrun attacks. However, in Legion, I don't think it's going to be that much of a game breaker, because of the fact that you know, you're not just trying to hit, usually, you're not just trying to hit a single miniature. If you're going through a whole unit, there's lots of minis there, and you'll probably still be able to make them work. But while they still can work, it's questionable how much impact this is actually going to have on the unit. It's unclear, you know, if they were actually originally intended to be that larger base size and it was a production error and this is the path that they're choosing. That's certainly what a lot of people have speculated, and it certainly seems that way. You know, if we go back to the dewback, we've seen something like this before. The dewback itself initially shipped with a much larger base. The dewback was initially shipped with the ATST size base, which is about proportionally as larger than this as this is to that, right? There's a specific millimeter measurements for it, but I don't think that really matters at this point. I don't know them. They're written down somewhere, and I just don't feel like pulling them out, as it's not really relevant. The point is, well, maybe it is relevant, but you know, I'm choosing for it to be irrelevant because I'm moving past it. But the point is, we've had like base screw ups before, and in the case of the dewback, like I was one of the first people to. To show it, because I did the dewback unboxing because I picked up a dewback at I think it was Gen Con 2019. I didn't even notice the difference. So personally, I can understand how a potential error like that could go unnoticed, because look, I playtested dewbacks. We're not really supposed to talk very much about playtesting other than to say that we were a playtester. So I can say that, right? I did playtest dewbacks. I playtested a lot of Legion under the FFG days. And so, as such, I probably should have known. But when I pulled it out, I was just like, oh, that base, man, moving this thing's going to be so cool, right? Because I just didn't know. I didn't realize. You know, there's you know, when you're playtesting, a lot of times you're subbing something in else for it or whatever. And I think there's just, you assume that certain information is going to be correct. So when you open the box and you pull it out, you're just like, I assume this is supposed to be correct. So what they did, since only some dewbacks had gone out at Gen Con, they had to do this whole base swapping thing, because if dewbacks were on like those larger bases, they were going to be like this big. That would have been kind of insane. Dewbacks would probably have to be costed at like 150 points right now or something crazy. But what they ended up doing, and I'm sure it had to have been very time-consuming, difficult, and maybe even costly, is that they shipped everybody who had a dewback another base. If you were at Gen Con and you got one of these, you know, the large base dewbacks, they shipped you the ATRT size base for the dewback, and so now, and that one affectionately was called the dewbackle, right? And so like, what they had to do is, for all the dewbacks that hadn't gone out, dewbacks were delayed like a couple of months while they manually opened. I don't know if this is exactly true, but the rumor is that they had to basically manually open every single box and package a new base in those, and then reseal every single box. You know, now out of the 14 million dewbacks that were shipped, I have no idea. It was probably not that many. But out of every dewback that was shipped like worldwide, you know, that you got to figure that that's a lot of boxes to repack and you know and do a correction on. And so, you know, I think if that were the case here, so like, you know, if we're trying to guess as to what really happened or whatever, if that were the case here, it would way be easier to just say, well, let's just say that the base that's in there is the correct base, and then go on from there. What may end up happening is that the Swoop bike riders may underperform now with the slightly smaller base, but there's an easy fix to that, and we'll see what, you know, in a couple of months, if there's a points change, and if Swoop bike riders end up coming down in points, if they go from like 70 down to 55 or something like that, which certainly might happen. I guess we'll see. And hey, that might actually be really cool. We'll have to wait and see what happens, though. But this isn't the first, you know, mistake with bases. Heck, it's not even the first mistake with this wave. You know, from early unboxings that I've already seen, the initial typo with the defense is actually went to print. So this is the card you should be using for Swoop bike riders. However, when you get yours, you may notice that where it says surge to crit, and surge for defense, and it doesn't actually say surge for defense, it says, or surge to hit. See, I just made a little mistake there too. So see, these mistakes can happen, but it actually says crit to defense on the card. That is actually showing up in unboxings, and so of course we'll be on the lookout for that whenever I'm able to get my copy in hand and bring to you an unboxing. We'll be looking at all of these things all over again. So, you know, like, misprints and mistakes happen. People are human, and it does seem like we've had a little bit more than we'd care to have recently. And so I think in this case, let's just let it be done than have to deal with a whole bunch of. We already have to, kind of reprint the cards or whatever. I mean, you don't really have to reprint the cards. You know that there's no such thing as crit to block, right? Well, maybe there could be someday. But if somebody does roll a crit, and for every crit you roll, I get a free block or whatever. That would be wild, but that wouldn't go here in the surge chart anyway. But yeah, so the Swoop Bike Riders, I'm not sure how good they're going to be with the smaller base. And it's still a little unclear. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Do you think that they were intended initially to have that larger base, and do you think that this was just AMG's kind of way of saying, hey, well, this is an easy way to rectify the entire situation? And I think that while they might deserve some criticism for that, I honestly, if I were in their shoes, I'd probably do the same thing. It's, you've already got, how many of these are, have already shipped and are at distributors and are being shipped to stores as we speak? It's too late to repackage all of them, and so, and you don't want, at the same time, I don't want suddenly, AMG to, delay the whole thing another 3 months or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's the way to do it. Or what if the cost of shipping out all these other bases were too high, and they said we'd have to just stop making Legion if that were the case. I don't know. That's a completely hypothetical. So let's not get too hypothetical. My point is, it doesn't look good. But it may be the cleanest solution to just say, well, they're gonna have a slightly smaller base. Now, if you've seen some of the other unboxings that are out there already, they do definitely confirm that. I'll be doubly confirming it when I get my unboxing up. We'll have to see, because they looked a little, like they fit on this size base, but this isn't going to be the right size base for them. And I wonder how that's going to work for reprints in the future, if they will redo these for future reprints. I think that's something that they might do. I don't know if it's worth it. Like if the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Doesn't look good, but I understand why they went with this choice. I think this is, nice of them to at least be upfront and say, hey, look, we screwed up, and where's the better screw up, right? Is it better to screw up with the photos that we've seen already, or with the product in our hand? Well, I'd rather the product in our hand be correct, because then at least we can start playing with it right away. But I mean, it's a lesser of two evils at this point. So that's just the way it is. So if you get your Swoop bikes and the bases don't look right, at least you can know that this is the way. This is the way, right? This is the way it is for Swoop bikes. So we'll have to wait and see if they get a point cost adjustment. I do think they'll probably end up coming down in points a little bit, because they'll be a little bit harder to overrun. I mean, the unit, they kind of want to overrun stuff, so we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's video, and we'll talk to you soon. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this channel possible, so thank you for continuing to show your support. I will talk to you all later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. So say we all. Wash your socks and give your mom a phone call. Let her know you love her.